slave, a living day to day. I hope you can get away, yeah, and join me. A moment in the blind time shift where no one's left behind, yeah. Today, we're going to be going over the Cattlemen T1 25 caliber, some of my final critiques, some of my final fixes on it, some of the stuff I've done to it, some of the things I liked about it, some of the things I didn't like about it, and we're going to go ahead and do a 50-yard, 75 I think, and probably 100-yard test today just to see what it's doing. And up front, I'm going to say I'm really impressed after I've put a little bit of work into this thing, what it can do and what it's capable of. I've tightened up a lot of the things, like I said, that I felt were a little bit loose on it, and I'm going to go ahead and go through that with you right now here today. And so without going too much further, let's go over to the main view here and we'll get you guys started. All right, so I'm going to go up. We're going to have to bring it up, it looks like. All right, and then we're going to zoom it in. Get you the best view that we can here. Okay. That looks pretty good right there. Okay. Now I'm going to go straight over to number 3. Is it 3 or 4? That's 4. Okay, here we go. We'll go right to view 4. And the first thing I'm going to go over is the lever. Now, I really like the lever I've done for it here. I've got a few of them. There's one in wood. You can see that. So there's some wood. Now these are slightly different style than this one. These just have a straight hole through there for the lever. Now these should fit on all the Cattlemen's guns that I have right now, as far as from what I can see. I'm going to verify that with the manufacturer, but okay. Now this one's slightly different in the fact that it goes all the way around the corner. Okay, that's a little bit more tricky machining on this, but it goes all the way around the corner, and I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to flip it up this way, but it's got really tight tolerances in there. Okay, it's like right next to there, and the reason I like it like this, and I'll show why, is because for me, I like to have my hand anchored and keep my thumb anchored. Now this allows me to be able to cock it and keep my thumb quickly anchored right back to the trigger. Okay, ready to go. Now that's why I like that. All right, so that was a fix for me that I needed it. Okay, now right now, if you look at it right here, I have you can see the end of the shot tray. That's what I'll be using for all the tests. I won't be using a clip. And the shot tray brought it into amazing accuracy from where the clip was. I was having difficulties with some of the clips until I fixed them a little bit, and that's in another video. Okay, all right. So the next thing I'm going to go over is the barrel band. All right, let's put this over here. It looks like this is just going to go. I think we can see that. Bring it back just a little bit here. Okay, there we go. The barrel band's in, and you can see what I've done here. This is the barrel band. I'm just going to kind of take a look at it. It's got grub screws on the top and the bottom, but never fear. And I'll show. I'm going to go ahead and turn it this way. I'll disassemble it really quick. Just to show what's going on there, so there's no confusion. You can still see it? Okay. All right, bring it right up there. And so right here, we got Allen screws. And these guys come out. These are stainless steel on these particular ones. Okay, on the top, on the bottom. Okay. And they come out. Now the trick with this guy is I obviously didn't want to crank down onto this air tube with metal. That's a bad idea. In my personal opinion, the manufacturer didn't like the idea, so we went with that. Go off with that. Okay, and so there we go. I probably popped one of them up. You can see here's the barrel band itself, but if you look inside there, there's these little balls inside there, and that's these guys. And these are some little 6 mil rubber balls that this just compresses down on. And this is a heavy density composite plastic. Okay. And then this guy just slides right on over. Like so, make sure those still in there. I think still good. Okay. This one. There we go. This guy just slides right over. Does that always happen? Okay. We're back. All right, we're going to put that guy in. You just crank it down until you feel that rubber start to mush. And gets it super snug on there. You can still get in there, it looks like. All right. And it doesn't mar up anything. And that's my quick fix for the barrel band, because this barrel was floating for sure. Okay. All right. So now that that's solid, put this guy back on. Okay, this is going to change probably on my sighting in. Now the next thing we're going to go over is on the back side here. Now, we want to go to this side. Here we go. All right. So we can slide this all in, crank it down. All right, there we go. Can you see it? We can see most of it. Okay. Bring this over here. I'll crank it down right there. Now, I'm just going to adjust this just a little bit. There we go. You might be noticing that I have an extra couple of knobs that you don't have on yours, and that's for a reason. Now this one here keeps this from unlocking. It's locked in there solid, but if you notice, this hinge has no play in it whatsoever. Okay, that's my first fix for there. Now if you look at this, we'll go ahead and pop this open a little bit. Okay, now we should be able to pop it, and you see right here this has a corner right here, and this is where this bolt is hitting, is right on this corner, and it's pressing it down and locking it into position. That keeps this hinge from moving and having any play in it, which I really didn't like. Okay, so now this is unlocked. Okay, and then we go up here to this knob right here. Okay, now this top knob, if you look at it right here, is just another grub screw. And what I've done here, if we look at it from the top here, I've machined a 5/16 groove down this. I removed this. There's a pin right here you press out, and then you have to pull this down extra far and it'll slide out. If you don't have to, some of you might have to remove this pin. I was able to just manipulate mine all the way down and pop it out. And then I put a 5/16 grub screw in here with a cap. I just made a temporary cap, and I'll show you what effect that has on it. Okay. So we're just going to move this all the way forward here, lock it down so you can get a good view of this. And so if I loosen this, I'm going to show you what happens. And that's all the play. Let's see if I can get up higher here so you can really get a good view of it. Okay, there we go. All right. Oh, lost our dilly there. All right, let's rotate it just a touch. There we go. Okay, now we're back in play. All right, here we go. So you can see this thing's all over the place, and you could hear it. It's rattling there. But you take this guy, and what this does is this compresses it down in that groove, and it allows it not to move in the top because there's a groove there that's been machined with just a flat mill end, 5/16, and then the 5/16 set screw cranks down, and it kind of pushes the two sides together so it doesn't move anymore. Crank it down, and look at that, solid as a rock. You crank this one down, and the only movement now is right here at this. You can see it just moving just a little bit, okay? You crank this down, and this thing is like, yeah, the way it should be. Woo! Yeah, buddy. Okay, so there's my fix on that. Okay, so the slop that was in the tail is now fixed. Okay, now in the barrel itself here, I've taken and placed 4 carbon fiber pieces that lock into it in 4 different spots along the barrel, okay, and keep the barrel from vibrating. And I'm going to go over what that's all about right now, and the barrel band. Okay, now we can see here I basically drew up a quick, what looks like a target, okay, and this right here is representing the gun, and what happens whenever the gun is moving, okay? So the gun is, whenever you shoot a barrel, it's moving in a circular motion as the barrel, as the bullet is going out, okay? And I have a illustration here that shows, okay, we got upside down, great. All right, now this is illustrating the time, all right, in milliseconds. Now we're just going to use a second example for understanding, okay? But this is the time, and then this is the typical barrel oscillation. And what happens is it starts out small, and as the projectile moves down the barrel, it's just like a hammerhead or a baseball bat. If you choke up on a baseball bat, you don't have as much force. But the further you get out on the tangent, the more force that projectile, whatever the weight is going to have to move your barrel side to side in the oscillation, if that makes any sense. So it's like a weight moving out further and further. The further it gets out, the more force that weight is going to be able to have, okay? And so typically you start out small and you get big, and that's in a 360-degree circle, okay? So if you think about this, and here's your targeting system, okay? If you think about it like this, okay, here's the gun, here's your target, and the bigger the oscillation here, the larger that pattern is going to be on your target. The smaller the oscillation of that barrel, the more towards the center or where you point it at it's going to be. Okay, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense so far. Okay, and so what I'm doing in here is I have different points, nodal points, that I'm taking, you can see the vibration starts, and then you hit that first nodal point, and it has to, the vibration goes back down, the magnitude of the vibration, and then it starts building back up, and then it hits another baffle point, and then it has to drop down, and it keeps doing that throughout each one of those baffle points. Okay, and as it goes, the overall magnitude of the wave diminishes because each time it's losing a little bit of energy, even though it's trying to push out there. And so that weight is harder to get started to move the further it gets out on that tangent, if that makes physics sense, if you get the idea of it. So the further it gets out here, the harder it is for the energy that initially pushed it is to make it move back and forth from side to side, so that vibration is getting smaller and smaller as you dampen it. And whenever you go out to the outside of the barrel, if you have a barrel band or something like that, you take and make that final tangent so that you only have that small node of vibration on the end. And what that translates on your target is a small rotation here. So you're hitting here or here or here or here, depending on how many milliseconds it takes for your pellet to come out. That's why the weight is and the error is consistency is super important. Okay, because if you have those things fluctuating all over the place, you're going to get different times that it's going to exit the barrel here, and different times that it's going to exit the barrel here on your 360. Okay, so here we can see that each one of these, the sine wave here is representative of half of the circle. Okay, so if it exits right here, it's going to be on the bottom half. If it exits up here, it's going to be on the top half. Okay, and that's how the waves work. And so what I'm doing is I'm canceling the waves, okay, and I'm turning them more into a transverse wave, which then in turn cause a shock wave to go up and down the barrel. Now it compresses and then expands the shock wave. Okay, now the reason I state that is because if you have these baffles in here and you don't have something at the end to take that force, what's going to happen is that force is going to be transferred into your gun one way or another. And so a rubber grommet or something to help dampen that before it goes into your gun is really important. Okay, now that's the lesson on gun physics for today. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and get this guy ready. We're going to change the channel here to, I'm going to put the scope cam on it. Okay, which is not right now. And we're going to go ahead and get busy shooting some groups. Okay. Okay. Great. So we're going to be using the JSBs, 33 grainers. Okay. Let's change it to the #1 view. All right. Actually, let's go to #2 because that's the scope cam. Now I'm going to have to probably readjust it 25 yards to figure out where I'm at again after moving everything. As you've seen, I just literally took everything apart on the front of that, so it's going to just probably be off a little bit. Let's see here. I'll do the first couple shots at 25. It's been topped off, so it's ready to work. All right, so we'll do the first couple shots at 25, and then we'll move it on out. And get it in focus. Always hates, this is a long range scope and it hates focusing at close range. About as good as we get right there. Okay. All right, so let's see where we're at. This is at 25 right here, and we're just going to do a quick run to see where we're at. Okay. I'm going to go for the center diamond, the center diamond towards the bottom. Alright, ready? Here we go. Okay, so we're really high. Okay, so we're actually set up for out to 100 right now. I was wondering about that. Okay, so we're just going to let's double check and see, make sure that we're all grouping good here. Okay, we'll do a quick 3-shotter. 25, just to see. Okay. Crank this down a little bit more. There we go. That's better. Alright, so that's fine. We're going to go ahead and go out to 50. Let's go over here. Let's see where we're at. There's 75. There's 100. And there's 50. Okay. Now we are at 50. Let's see what we got here. Okay. We're in. Let's get it focused. Alright, now this is going to be shooting probably a little bit high still because we're going to go out to 100 with this, so it's all set for, it's all dialed in at 100, I believe. We're pretty close. Like I said, I just moved everything, so we're just going to do a quick 4-shot group here at 50. Okay, ready for it? Good. Alright, so let's get right in there. And go. Oh, we're off the paper. I think we need to go to, alright, let's see here. Let's go down to the next node. still, so I'm gonna bring it way down and shoot right between those two. It's hitting way up high. All right, so we're gonna view that as soon as I get the quick group here. Okay, go back down. There's 3. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. Go for the 4th one. 50 yards. Boom. That's a pretty good group there. Let's take a look at it. Okay. So you can see about a 1-inch group at 50 yards. All right, so now we're going to go right on over to 75. And that's 100. There's our 75. Okay. Now we're going to take and focus that in. How does that look? Hopefully pretty good. Okay. So dial it up. We should be getting closer to where we want to be on the target. I think I'm going to shoot between these two still. We'll probably hit about mid-target, hopefully. Okay. There we go. That looks pretty good. Let's get her loaded up. See what she's going to do. Okay. I'm going to go down between those other two just like I did, so we're not hitting them high. This is at 75 yards, mind you. Boom. Yeah, I think you guys can see that. 75 yards. All right, so and you can see that if I bring it up here, I've labeled everything. That's our 75 yarder. Woo, look at that. A 1-inch group at 75. Yeah, Cattlemen's. All right. Now, as I said, this is something special here. I think that you know, these guys are having a little rough spot getting out the door. But let me tell you, I think that their guns are going to be amazing. Amazing. All right, so here we are out to 100. Let's see what we really got going on here. All right, and here we go. We're going to be able to test this. I think at 100, we should be dropping pretty close now. See how this actually is. All right, so I'm going to aim for the center die and let's see if we can get it. The center diamond at the bottom. Not the second center diamond at the bottom, excuse me. Okay, it looks like we're running pretty consistent to that high spot. I guess I could have adjusted the scope, but we're just going to leave it and do nothing, like I said. So the wind's picking up. I don't know if you can hear that. What view are you guys getting? You're getting a big view of that, so you're not getting any of the other telemetry. All right, but you can see the wind is really picking up. 100 yards down there, it's swirling. And that's in a canyon, so it really has an updraft and it pushes around a lot. But it is what it is. Let's see what we got going on for our group here. Now this this is in wind, so you're gonna have to take that into consideration. So in my opinion, I've shot this on a clearer day than this. A lot of that's coming from the wind. And so you can see where the wind is pushing us. Let's try one more here. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and drop it down over to this corner, and we're going to shoot one more group at 100 and see how that looks. Right off the point of the diamond. Okay. Now, of course, the wind picked up even more for the 100, so it is what it is. So we've opened up a bit. So I'm going to adjust over and up. Let's see if I can't get those a little closer to where I'm aiming. Let's try this again. Aim to that same spot and see where it's landing now. Adjusted the scope a little bit to see where we're going. Okay, down and over. All right. Over. Okay, let's try that. We missed it altogether. Alright, so now I'm playing with the scope instead. That's no fun. Alright, let's try it right there again. Okay, we're still not far enough over. Not moving. Track. There we go. I think that's where we're at. Okay, now we're back. A few clicks later. Let's see what's going on. No, still over too much. Oh, wrong way. Okay, let's try that. See if I can get this thing on paper. Huh. This is the scope problem. This isn't the gun problem here. And sorry about that. Jeez, really? Okay. I guess I'm gonna go up to the top and see if we're really shooting that low. Let me take a look at what the pressure is real quick here. Okay, we're down under 150. I've had good luck with that before. We'll see. Let's take a look, see where we're at now. Okay, down down and over. Now I got something to go to. Okay. Over. Okay. Let's try this now. All right, we're closer. Our objective's a little bit better. Let's see what this does. Okay. Sorry about that other stuff, guys. Happens, right? Let's see. You see that wind move it. It pushes up a little bit and swirls in that spot. It's right in a valley, and I got a post sticking up. So not bad. It's still hitting in a pretty good 2-inch radius there. I've gotten better with this gun though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and recharge it and take and shoot that top one off on another quick supplemental video, so you guys don't have to listen to the charger go off. I know this is a long video already, but we're going to bring it back and let's see, can I adjust it? Here. And you can see what kind of wind we got. Obviously we got, right now it says it's only a 2.4, but you can see earlier we were gusting pretty good. And so that's at 100. It's hitting at 100, but not solid as it was. I was getting 1-inch groups at 100 before. So we'll take a look. And now that was on a nice calm day too, so that makes a difference. We'll go ahead and do a supplemental whenever I get it recharged, because it's a little low right now and I want to see what it looks like at 100 with a full charge starting off fresh. All right, guys, catch you in a bit.